The Resident Evil 4 remake has been insane so far when it comes to the weapons, character development, and overall display. Looking at the 12 minutes of footage, there were a few things you may have missed for your first time. Let's go through this together. Starting off in the church, we can noticeably see the chandelier and the color puzzle are missing, and this changes things drastically. But when you head outside of the church to fight off the horde of ganados, we can see the color puzzle did make a return, but this time it's on the first floor, meaning it's probably the first thing we have to do once we reach this area of the game. It's also worth noting that the ladder we used in the original to climb up to get to the second floor isn't shown at all, although I'm sure it's still there. As Leon and Ashley are escaping the church, we can see Ashley climbing down the ladder, which is a complete game changer, as when in those tight spots being chased down, we won't have to worry about Ashley needing help in some critical moments. It looks like so far Capcom has removed the loading screen when moving into a new area and replaced it with some cutscenes instead. This is a winner for not having to have Ashley right next to you to move on. Okay, now a little bit of ways in the gameplay, we take our look into the map. Now seeing this for the first time, I paid attention to the areas that we already explored, but as they scroll towards the extraction, we can see an area in the top right that I've heard rumors about this being the spot where the Bella sisters may appear. As we've seen so far, the areas are differently located around the map compared to the original, and with this new area being grayed out, doesn't necessarily mean it won't be accessible later on in the story. Take instance for the cabin fight. Right after the ganados leave, that's when we were able to make our decision to take either the left or right path to face the Bella sisters or the Gigante. Alright, now this is very important, so take a look at this. During the fight against the ganados outside the church, Ashley actually gets captured, and as the enemy is walking away, we can see the logo on the bottom right change. It comes with a scroll timer that lets us know if the ganado holds on to Ashley for longer than its allotted time, she will be captured and you will have failed to save her, prompting the famous, "Oh no." Well, I'm hoping we get that back anyway, and you will have to restart. No worries though, as long as you keep an eye out on her logo, you should be fine. Alright, now we're coming down to the cemetery, where we complete our grave robber quest. We see a path to the left, in which Leon takes after shooting the emblem and collecting the egg. But just as he's coming down, you can see another path leading into an underbridge, which holds some items and a new area to explore. It was noted that in this gameplay, there are lots of areas to explore, and it wasn't a straightforward path, despite the camera angles showing you where to go. So keep an eye out for these, as you may come across weapon parts, treasures, and other collectibles. Just a little ways after the cemetery area we just explored, we run into the merchant. Now in his cell tab specifically, important key items like the insignia key used to unlock the door in the center of the village in the original is now available to sell off for some extra peseta. To past Resident Evil remakes, once you were done using the item for its purpose, rather than discarding it, you could probably sell all these important items for some cash instead of getting rid of them. This, in my opinion, was a great addition to making even story-driven items worth holding onto for a little while longer. It's not an immense amount of pesetas, but at the start of the run, having a lot of money would make the differences in terms of the rocket launcher, especially being 80,000 from the start. In the buy tab, we can see just below the weapons and the healing item, we now have recipes to buy and can make using resources found in the area, such as the flash grenade, the bolts for the bolt thrower, and attachable mines, which I would like to see someone setting up traps on the walls for unsuspecting enemies to just walk around that wall and get blown away. Maybe making these mines would be a huge benefit to the cabin fight, putting them on the stairs and around windows, or training ganados in a bunch and then using a mine to take them all out at once. You know, looking down the path, we can also see that we can purchase different cases, although I think this may just be an enlargement of your item case, but it could also be different style of cases that we take a look at in here a few minutes. Then there's what seems to be a quest tab. Maybe you can buy side quests and not all of them refer to being in the area, or simply purchase the ones maybe you missed up until that point. Then the last one shows the handgun with a down arrow, which usually refers to removing things from a weapon. Let's say you buy the laser sight for the standard 9mm, then you remove it to put it on the Red 9. This is all speculation, but we don't know yet if weapons have single attachments for individuals. Now, if you weren't already aware, the tune-up also has a bit of a change, but still lets us upgrade our weapons as we see fit. Besides the way the basic stats are displayed on the side over here, there's also a type of graph that shows us what exactly is going to change about the weapon. in terms of 5 different specs: the firepower, ammo capacity, reload speed, rate of fire, and the accuracy or precision when shooting the gun. This lets us know exactly what's going to change about a weapon, and if it's really worth spending, let's say 25,000 pesetas, if the game really isn't worth the money for that specific gun type. Or maybe it's just for show and we will still just look at the upgrade it gives and go ahead and purchase it because every little bit of DPS makes the difference, especially against tankier enemies. Firepower could play a giant role for starter weapons, as they could also contribute to stunning enemies to get the melee off and then finish with the knife. Okay, now here comes some really juicy information. When looking at our case display for the first time, hovering over a weapon and selecting it gives a menu to choose from. The storage selection is what impressed me the most. Being able to send weapons from your inventory directly to the storage mid-game was a great addition. This makes it more convenient to have room for other pickups, and when a weapon you have is currently out of ammo, it might be in your best interest to go ahead and send it back to the storage. Let's say if you need room for extra herbs or some more grenades. This area here to me resembles a reference to the Resident Evil Village, looking very similar to the winged key portraits from that game. Nothing crazy, just a special mention as I thought it looked familiar. Also, in the same house, when you reach upstairs, we see the picture a little tilted on the wall there, indicating we can remove it to either find a hidden item to sell, as we may already get the insignia key during daylight, if it's still possibly placed here. We already had the insignia key to open the center, so there could be an entirely different item here or a treasure, just to keep your eyes peeled out for that. Reaching the attic and seeing there isn't a way to progress, at least from what we can see, it tells us this area is possible to revisit for some extra loot if we happen to look around for it. Okay, so this is the area where we first encountered the 𝗦𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗕𝗦𝗕, or the Plaga dogs. If we take a look at the barn in the center, we have an access point on the second floor. In the original, you could never get inside this building until you played the mercenaries mode, that is. Now we can access it for more items and maybe a treasure or two. With Dr. Salvador in this area, it may be useful to run here so you can escape if things get a little too heavy, instead of climbing up the tower or running around feeling helpless. I'm glad they decided to make a decision like this, as I can't wait to see the changes they've made to the interior of the barn and everything else this has to show us. A small little note here, but when you're going through the farm area and passing through to get to the cabin fight, this is actually where the merchant is. So if you head down under that pass, right underneath this bridge, which is nostalgic alone for the fact that in the original, it was the same way before going into this fight. He was there to make sure you had everything you needed because something insane was about to happen. Leon even glances over, letting the player know, hey, there's something or someone over here. Just in case you missed this in the 12-minute gameplay we were given, the merchant makes a return right before this big fight. Alright, so at this point, we're looking at different cases and charms you can equip on the case. Each case comes with a single case perk and possible multiple charm perks. The silver case comes with an increased drop rate for standard handgun ammo, and if you happen to pre-order the game, you get the handgun ammo charm. This isn't confirmed, but it might be possible to see stacks of the same type, increasing drop rate for the handgun ammo, then with the charm and increasing how much ammo actually drop. Then with the black case comes an increased drop rate for L resources, and the chicken adds plus 100% health recovery for all egg types. In the deluxe edition, you will also receive the herb charm. Like I said before, it could possibly see multiple perks from charms. Adding these two together might be a bit overkill, but if you like healing a lot without the need to combine herbs consistently, combining these two charms will work out in your favor. Now, when looking at the case, we can see on the lower end of the screen there is now an automatic sort for quick case cleanup. I wonder if you keep trying the auto sort, if it will keep weapons and items in separate places or bunched together. From looking at it, it's definitely changed from the case we've seen earlier, so I'm hoping the weapons, grenades, ammunition, and health get their own designated spots, rather than a complete randomize of the entire thing, which I'm sure won't be the case, because I'm seeing each specific item staying together as neat as possible. And in the past, a lot of fans such as myself loved keeping our inventories as clean as possible. Every time we picked up a new item, it was managed accordingly. Mid-boss fights could not stop us from cleaning inventory if we found a couple of grenades or ammo during the fight. Like, even ammo we were about to use is still going to look nice and neat before we use it seconds later. I really hope you guys got something productive from this video and enjoyed every second of it. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and drop a like on this video as it helps me out a lot. We can get as many people in on what to expect when playing the game for the first time. Every bit of information really goes a long way. Now I'm pretty curious myself. If there was anything I missed that seemed like it was overlooked, let myself and others know in the comments below. But I hope you're all doing very well, and I will see you soon.